Hello, YouTube, Facebook, whoever else I decide to share this with. Panda Brady here. Or as you may know me, just Brady. So, today's little podcast type thing I'm doing is, voice acting. The journey so far. So, in this, audio log, I guess, I wish to explain to people how I got into the thought process of becoming a voice actor. So, to start out, when I was about 10 years old, before this, I had loved doing musicals, and I was described as a ham very often. But, at about age 10, I was, very interested in musicals and songs. You know, I was the kid that would sing every Disney song and, all that stuff. So, pardon. It's late at night. I should be going to bed, but I can't sleep, so I'm doing this to try and put myself to sleep. My father, decided to put me into acting workshops so that I could be in musicals and stage plays and stuff like that, and I enjoyed it. I sang, I did the choreography, I did the acting up on stage until I was 18 pretty much. But it was also around that time that I started noticing that voices from one cartoon to another or one anime to another were the same voice, and I was confused at the time. So I asked my dad why it was that they had the same voice, and I was told about voice actors, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, you can get paid to do that? But, I stutter too much. I really need to have something to keep me on track. So I started really liking voice acting, and I'd do my own voices, and I was a only child for 9 years of my life, and often I would sit there with toys and be like, "Rawr, I'm a scary monster, and I'm a hero, blah, blah, blah." But, classic kid stuff. But, one sec. Sorry about that. Arizona tea in the microphone. ASMR. Yeah. I'm one of those people that do not like ASMR. Anyways, so I was really into anime at the time, Inuyasha, stuff like that. Kagaume! Inuyasha! Kagaume! Stuff like that. So, I started looking at voice actors, and I rented a anime known as D.N. Angel, and as I was watching it, I was listening to the episode's actor commentary, and they're like, oh, I'm Kevin Korn, and I'm Vit Mignogna, and they were talking back and forth, and then I heard this story about Greg Ayres, who was the semi-antagonist. I never finished the series, unfortunately. How Greg Ayres literally walked into Funimation one day and asked for an audition, and he got it. And that really inspired me to try and do the same. And I had called and asked about that at the time. They had open casting lists where they're like, okay, we'll take your name, and anywhere from 6 months to 6 years, you'll hear from us. So I took the list. Well, I put my name on the list and waited a few years. Went to my first convention, which was a A-Con, I think 22. I could be wrong. But there I met Amy Howard Wilson. She was a very nice and very helpful person. She talked about getting into the voice acting business. I also met why can't I think of his name? He's on my friend list. Kyle Hebert. Kyle Hebert, the narrator and voice of Teen Gohan, or some of you may know him as Kamina. And I say Teen Gohan, adult Gohan. It doesn't make sense to call Kid Gohan Teen Gohan to me, but anyways. So they were all nice. They talked about how to get into the acting business. And Amy actually suggested calling and asking how to put a voice reel to Funimation's databanks, and they would get to it later. So I did. I called, and they were like, oh yeah, just record something and send it in to us. And so I did. And, a couple years passed. I kept trying, kept asking, hey, when are auditions? Am I up yet? Am I up yet? And they're like, no. Finally, senior year in high school, I get an email from the, at that time, the assistant to Gen Fukunaga, that says, hey, we looked at your voice demo, and the director of the anime Dead Man Wonderland wants you to be in the callbacks for the lead character, Gonta Igarashi. At the time, I was incredibly happy about this. I was so psyched. I was hyper. So I, sorry about that. So I read further, and I found out that the callback dates happened to be in the middle of my high school finals. Nearly every voice actor that I have told this story has said the same thing. Why didn't you take it? And I was upset with myself because I couldn't make it because I thought my education was more important. Which it is. It is. Don't get me wrong. But I would have loved that opportunity. So, I missed out on that. A few years later, went to my second convention, then subsequently my third and fourth. On my fourth visit, just months before, I had sent a demo reel with a really cruddy desktop microphone to who was it, Bang Zoom or Viz? Whoever did One Punch Man. I got an email back from them saying, hey, we think you would do great as the main character, but you have a really crappy microphone quality. Come out to San Francisco for the next 3 months, and you've got the part. I didn't have the money. I could have been Saitama. And that bugs me so much. I've missed 2 incredible opportunities. And ironically enough, with the Dead Man Wonderland one, the person who ended up playing Gonta Igarashi was the guy who inspired me to start voice acting. How's that for a kick in the pants, huh? But, yeah, so since then, like I said, I talked to the director for Dead Man Wonderland, Mr. McDonald, and when I explained what happened, he was like, "Oh yeah, I remember that. I'm sorry you missed out on such a great opportunity. Maybe if you send a voice demo, you could..." He said, maybe if you send a voice demo, we could get you a part somewhere else. Well, the problem is that I don't have enough stuff to show for a voice demo. And if I do, it's really bad quality. It sounds like I'm talking through a Bane mask to it. And because of that, that's really been a roadblock here. And now with my new job, I don't think I'll ever have time to go down and record if I ever got the chance to. Which I don't know what to do about that. Pardon me. It's a really big way because on one hand, I've got a really nice paying job, good benefits, good hours, stuff like that. Or I could have the chance to audition for an anime and get really good pay that way. But it's, as I've found with many of my voice actor friends, it's not steady, it's constant, you have to be in the place, you have to try and act. And I've wanted to move down to the Dallas area to be closer to Funimation, but it's just not in the cards right now. It's not in the cards, man. And I see these competitions where it's like, oh, voice acting competition at this con. If you get it, you get a part in this upcoming thing, like Andromeda. So I was like, ooh, that sounds nice. Oh, I can't make it. Oh, good for you, Phantom. Good for you. And now now that I'm getting my voice online finally, the only thing that's out right now, I only have one thing to show for it. Another, I play a Irishman. I think he's Irish. Where I'm like, ladies and gentlemen. But again, can't announce until it comes out, and that's so annoying, you know? The other thing that's not out yet is originally in Spanish. I think that's all I can say right now. Oh, and the thing that is out is it's a motion comic that a person is making. Dragon Tamer Productions is their channel. Supposedly, from what the creator has said, she's going to make it fully animated, this next one. And I got a few parts in there, but episode 2 hasn't been out yet. I understand animation takes a long time, especially when you're the only one animating. Just like drawing a comic takes a long time, especially when you're the only one drawing. But yeah, I'm just rambling and rambling and rambling. Moments in my journey of voice acting. I once emailed Liam O'Brien and asked him if he knew of any auditions or parts coming open soon that I could try for. This was on email, never personally talked to him. And he sends me the email that says, basically, it said, why would I tell you that would mean I have less parts for myself? Now, I get where he's coming at. It was kind of rude, but I was stupid 14-year-old badgering him every, 3 days over email. So, yeah, I can understand that he was a little testy. Another time, I was on Skype, and I was randomly friending various voice actors. Randomly, I found one that was actually that voice actor instead of the thousands of people that were pretending to be. Mr. Vic Mignogna. And I was part of an anime club where I was the president. At the time, I believe I was the secretary. And sorry about that. I managed to talk Vic into doing a little Q&A through Skype, and he was all right with that. It was totally him. I couldn't believe it. When I first found him, I had tears of joy, and I felt really embarrassed about it, but yeah. So he started the Q&A, and he goes, hang on a sec, let me bring two of my friends in here. And it was, what was his name? Oh my goodness, I can't remember. Patrick, Seitz. It was Patrick Seitz and Todd Haberkorn. And I was so happy, but unfortunately, most of the club had already left. It was literally 4 people left by the time they got on. And it didn't last very long, and Vic Mignogna ended it with a funny story because according to Seitz, they had to get to a panel. Apparently they were at a con, and they were like, oh, it's early in the day. We can do a little Skyping with somebody randomly. And I was like, that was so cool of him to do that. And he gave me a big ego boost when he was like, well, you've got a great voice. And I was like, oh, wow, thanks. That's a lot coming from you, Mr. Well, I didn't say this, but Mr. Every Role at the time. And he was like, yeah, maybe we'll work on something together someday. I was like, I'd like that. That'd be awesome. But unfortunately, so far it hasn't happened, and I'm 24, and I'm 23. I feel old. I know I'm not. Trust me, I know I'm not, but I feel old. It's all these new millennials and their dabs and their spinners and their cockadoodies and... that sounded wrong. I'm sorry, Shaddy. But, yeah. That's pretty much been my voice acting journey. I used to do... I still roleplay and stuff, but when I'm in person, I like to do voices for stuff. I'll be like, hello, we're playing the DBZ tabletop, and I'm a copy of Imperfect Cell. Allow me to drink you. Or, and they turn into, Hello, I'm Perfect Cell. How dare you think you can attack me? Or I do other monster voices. You have to get past us. I sound like some kind of weird little Nicky. Or I'd be like, yes, I'm Sean Connery. Or, no, I'm that guy from Snake Eater. Major, get over here. I have a weird facial thing that allows me to do electricity through my arm. Various stuff like that. And as I've been told multiple times, just because you can do a voice doesn't mean you can act. That doesn't mean you can act. You have to be able to be happy. You have to be sad. You have to be angry. You have to know the subtleties to actual acting, which luckily I've had an experience with stage acting, so I know the different emotions. However, this was a big problem because my theater teacher, I could emote well through voice, and but I wouldn't move very much. And she hammered into me that you need to have big movements on stage because your whole body is telling everyone what's going on. The prince is here! The prince is here! Oh, the princess is dead! No! What could go wrong? And stuff like that. And, and then you get to the musical numbers where you have to be on point with every single note, which I enjoyed singing, yeah. But when you're when you're sitting there for 3 months before a play or musical is supposed to start, usually musical, and you're sitting there practicing the song with like 15 other people in a little basement that's unair conditioned, and all they've got is a fan, it gets rough. And you're like, Shooby-doo, I wanna be like you, ooh, ooh. I wanna walk like you, talk like you, ooh, ooh, ooh. And I'm not going to name names, but my theater teacher always said she's not going to pick favorites. And if that's true, I guess I was her favorite, because every time I tried for a specific role, she would say no. And that's because because of my body type, because of how I presented myself, I was always I'm very pompous and cocky, and hello, I'm the head manager of this TV station, or you're the ugly duckling, my son, come here. We've been looking for you forever. Oh, I can't believe that you're still here. Stuff like that. Or, I'm General Hothy, whatever his name is, from Jungle Book. He didn't have any speaking parts from this new movie. And I'd be like, up, 2, 3, 4, give it up, 2, 3, 4. And every time I'd try for another role, it'd be, no, we've got this person. Willy Wonka? Nah, we're gonna go with a female and call it Wilhelmina Wonka. And yes, I'm a large guy. I understand. One sec. Okay. Yes, I'm a large guy. I understand it doesn't make sense that I would be Willy Wonka. So they're like, oh, you can be... sorry about that. Burped right in the microphone. You can be Mr. Salt. And I was like, alright. Hello there, Wonka. I'm Mr. Salt. I run a cashew factory. Or a peanut factory, something like that. Oh, yes, my daughter Veruca. Don't worry, honey, I'll get you that. By the end of the day, that's what the line is. Veruca, sweetie, no! What have you done with her, you madman? The furnace? What? Stuff like that. And another time it was, oh, I want to be Baloo because I have that body type for that. Nah, we're going to go with somebody taller and more ethnic. But why? Oh, because you don't have a bass voice. I can go to a bass. No, you're more of a baritone. So who am I playing? Oh, you're playing General Hothy. The guy with an even deeper voice than Baloo? Yeah. Alright. Okay, at least be Shere Khan then? No, we've got this tiny little girl to play that. Why? 'Cause she's bossy. Alright. I have Asperger's. I can't go against authority. I hate that part of my disability. With my disability, I cannot go against authority. So much stuff has happened in my life because I can't say no. It's annoying, guys. Sorry about the long-winded podcast, but I'm trying to make a point here. And not my theater teacher, my drama teacher. My drama teacher, I found, was more helpful than my theater teacher. Because my drama teacher did stage plays, and she would go based on your acting ability. It doesn't matter what the character's supposed to look like, how they're supposed to sound. If you can act that part, she would do it. And I had the chance to play the doctor, I can't remember his name, from Harvey. Harvey's originally a black and white movie about a crazy man who thinks he sees a giant invisible rabbit. Turns out that rabbit's actually real. Spoiler alert. Should have said that beforehand. But my character was, I see you suffer delusions that you think there's a giant rabbit? What? That's crazy. Why would you think that? Well, Doc, well, you see, he does this and that and blah blah blah. Oh, very interesting. And then the doctor starts seeing Harvey, and he thinks he's going crazy, but then he's like, Harvey can actually do stuff, though. This is so odd. Could Harvey do something for me? If I could go on vacation, I would go to Akron, Ohio. It's a lovely place. There's a small little cottage and everything. And eventually, I told my drama teacher, hey, I've been trying to get into voice acting. Do you think you could help me out a little? And she was extremely helpful, actually. She tried to coach me with voice acting because for years I had hammered into my head, no, you have to emote with your whole body. You don't have to worry about your voice because what you're doing on stage will make up for it. And so she helped me out. She gave me a little excerpt from The Invisible Man to read, and I would read it and read it and read it. It'd be out loud, and I'd stumble out over parts because I would end up emoting more with my body than my voice. And I'd be like, oh, I'm such a pitiful man. I can't even get a bite to eat and blah, 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 blah. And she'd be like, no, you need to emote more. I'm such a pitiful man. I can't even get a bite to eat. Dogs sniff at me. Doesn't even matter that I'm invisible. Stuff like that. And I slowly worked up, and she said that I was getting a lot better, but then I had to go to college and moved and haven't talked to her in a few years. But yeah, so I've been trying. I've been trying. I take notes. I meet with voice actors. I try to, befriend them. Be like, "Hey, how's it going, Eric Cherry?" And Eric Cherry, great guy, fun to karaoke with. Not at cons, but I've heard some crazy stories. I won't share those here. But yeah, it really surprised me one year because I walk in and he just goes, "Brady, and there you are," and I was like, "Wait, what?" I just said my name on a YouTube video. I'll have to edit my last name out. Middle note 3030. Okay. Alright, but yeah, I think I've rambled on as much as possible. And I will probably, after this, record a song and upload it.